Hey, welcome into Carpooling with Ben, and welcome to part 2 of my visit to Boston MedFlight. Today you'll be hearing from critical care transport nurse Erica Horan and flight paramedic David LeVake on a variety of topics dealing with the industry and, maybe even a question or two of life outside of the jumpsuit. First, I wanted to learn what their career path was like, getting to work with Boston MedFlight.
I really wanted to become an RN when I became an EMT in 2002, and how that happened was 9/11. So 9/11 really inspired me to want to help people in the medical ways, like to treat people that are injured. And then I always had in the back of my mind from that day that I wanted to join the military. So when I was an EMT, I went to nursing school. I went to St. Anselm College. And then I graduated in 2006 and started working at Beth Israel. And when I was on a glass bridge that you can see the helipad from the FAR building, and I saw Boston MedFlight land in 2006. And I said, wow, that would be so cool. Nice. That's what I want to do when I grow up. Yeah. So I really tailored my nursing career to become competitive for Boston MedFlight, because I had spoken with a few of my EMT basic colleagues at Fallon Ambulance, and they were like, oh, you need a lot of experience. They really look for just a lot of critical care, maybe military would be a plus. And given that I kind of had that little inkling that I wanted to join the military, that I was like, oh, this is perfect. So I got in touch with a recruiter, and I commissioned into the Air Force in 2007. And I was active duty from 2007 to 2013. And when I moved back home in 2017, I applied for a job here. This was my dream job.
This has been it.
This is it.
I've been an EMT since 1998 or so. And I, oddly enough, I sort of got into it. I worked in environmental services at Sturdy Memorial Hospital when I was in high school. And I was intrigued. I worked in the emergency room, saw the guys coming in and out from all the fire departments. And and MedFlight landed one day, and I was like, what's going on out there? And that was like sort of like what started me being intrigued with the whole process. And I graduated, once I graduated high school and, started going to college. It was kind of like, well, I'm not really into what I'm doing. So I just took the obligatory EMT class at CCRI, like all my friends were doing, and been doing it ever since in some capacity. You have to have a desire to be out there, helping people and basically putting yourself in situations that a lot of people would rather not be in. So it just happens to be I got into this group of friends, and we were all doing either the volunteer fire department or, starting off in private ambulance, and we've all been doing it ever since in some capacities.
So I was curious what it was like for them starting a new career with Boston MedFlight. What was day one like, aside from getting a helmet and a jumpsuit?
Very intimidating, I would say, because you're with a group of professionals, paramedics, nurses, even support staff that are extremely smart and extremely good at what they do, and you just want to measure up to that. So you're constantly, I felt like it was like drinking from a fire hose. Even though I came in with all of this experience as a critical care nurse and combat ICU nurse, I felt like I still had so much to learn, and I just wanted to be like them. And I still want to be like them. I'm still, constantly learning and growing. But yeah, it's a pretty decent orientation program process. They just immerse you into the MedFlight experience, and you are constantly critiqued along the way. But it's very well done, I would say. You have support along the entire process. So you never, even though you feel like you can't keep up, you're right where you should be during the entire process.
Now, for a lot of people, the first time they were exposed to a medical helicopter situation, it was the TV series MASH, and obviously a lot has changed since then.
Well, there was a lot less paperwork back then, so it's pretty cut and dry. Lot less like quality assurance and such. Wouldn't be terrible, I guess. But yeah, it's the whole industry has certainly come a long way, and the stuff that we do, like from neonates to elderly, from medical trauma, complex cardiac stuff. It's just it's not something that I think every paramedic is like, as you're flipping through the book or sitting in class, be like, this is going to be my jam someday. But once you get here and you start learning, you're like, wow, I do a lot of medicine, as a paramedic or as a nurse that, I probably wouldn't be doing it in a lot of other places. And, that's for the right person that wants to sort of challenge themselves and, learn the extra skills and stuff. It's pretty awesome.
I was curious if anything has surprised them since they became crew over at Boston MedFlight.
Yeah, it was the wide variety of patients that we do here, from the extremely premature newborn and the elderly adult and everything in between. Pediatrics, we do very sick heart patients on multiple cardiac monitoring and pumps and things of that nature. So I was really surprised at the amount of just the complexity of our patients in all age ranges. So that was a little bit surprising. We don't have a dedicated PD team. We don't have a dedicated neonatal team. We do it all here. So I was like, wow, I really have a lot to learn still.
It's just like those rotors spinning round and round. It becomes a cycle of on-the-job training, which promotes job satisfaction, and that fuels the desire to keep learning on the job.
You're always learning. You learn something new every day. You have no idea what you're going to walk into on any given day, on any given call. It's a continual learning process. It is rewarding because you are helping people, and then when you walk into a room and you see the relief on families' faces and the providers and the nurses, it's like, okay, they want us here, they want us to help, and that for me is fulfilling, really. And then when we do follow-up on these patients, they end up doing well. You're just like, oh, that's such a win.
Now, to have a little fun and with everything opening back up, I was curious if there were any concerts or shows that they were really interested in going to see.
We had tickets to Zac Brown at Fenway last year before everything got rolled up. So I think they're coming back in August. So put that on the to-do list, I hope. Yeah.
So this is going to be surprising to everybody because I seem like sweet little innocent Erica, but I'm really looking forward to going to this Korn Staind concert in Mansfield. Really? Yes, I FaceTimed with the Staind band a couple days ago because my husband gave it to me as a Mother's Day gift. It was like the best gift in the world. Even though I only got to FaceTime with them for 2 minutes, it was like the highlight of my year. I know, right? Doesn't seem like I'm that kind of person. No.
I know. I was going to say Sarah McLachlan, but I was wrong.
Yeah, no.
Hey, you never know. Perhaps Korn or Staind or Zac Brown Band can invite them to come backstage or to the VIP section. That'd be really cool, guys, if you could, hook that up. I'm sure they're watching. I wrapped up the interview by asking them, what is it about Boston MedFlight that makes it such a premier organization?
The real thing that makes MedFlight is, it's the employees, it's the team. Whether it be the folks in comms taking the calls, the EMTs and the pilots that get us there safely, or just the crew, the paramedics and nurses. Everybody has come from a diverse background. The paramedics, everybody's got their story of where they came from. The nurses the same way. Military. These big trauma centers. Across the country. Our pilots. I mean, geez. They don't even tell us some of the stories about what they've done. It's an awesome group of people that really make it. I mean, there's a lot of shine, a lot of bells and whistles that we can bring, but at the end of the day, it's the hands on the patients that's really, it's really that's what makes the job great here is the people that I work with day to day.
When that helicopter lifts and you're going to a call, you're not thinking about like how cool this job is. You're thinking like, okay, my scene safety, so you're always looking out the window until you've actually started going. And then my head is buried in a notebook and in my protocols, getting ready for what we're about to walk into, honestly. You're not thinking about like, oh, this job is so cool. Like, you're really thinking about what could go wrong, what are my differentials for the patient, how am I gonna walk into this? And know what I'm doing and be confident with what I'm doing.
If you want to learn more about Boston MedFlight, simply go to their website, bostonmedflight.org. You're going to find great information on there, links to stories that have been done by various news channels about them, and of course, as they are a nonprofit, there's a great way for you to get involved and support and help their mission and to keep the rotors turning, as they say. Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to share this episode, and I'll catch you on the next time.